There's Just Something About Kansas City is brought to you by the generosity of our friends with the Haverty family, the Illig family, the Kearney Warnell Foundation, UMB Bank trustee, the Sherman family, the Cockrell family, Kansas City Orthopedic Institute, Don and Mary Doherty, and the Bergman family. Thank you.
Hey folks, welcome once again to another edition of Just Something About Kansas City, where we talk about the people, places, and things that make this such a great place to live. And I'm just going to tell you right now, better buckle up, because we have got the one and only Johnny Caprioli, the one and only Johnny Dare. How are you, buddy?
How are you, man? Good to see you. Man.
I'm doing good. Good to see you too. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yep.
Been a little while. Yeah. Let's talk about Johnny. Let's. I know you're off the air now.
Right.
Okay. And you have a little bit of freedom. What are you doing with your time, man?
Well, first of all, I'm bored to tears. You know, when you don't have that day to day, but you know, you find mischief, right? Like it's idle hands. Everything from Sturgis to I just got back from a motorcycle trip. I had a friend. He's in a rock band, Jackal, Southern band, and I get this phone call in this Southern voice. Hey, man, you ever been to Milan? And I go, nope. And so he's part of this group that takes this big tour, and they just did a huge promotion with Eagle Riders. And so I ended up flying to Milan. He had a motorcycle and an extra hotel room, and we rode with this group from Milan, Italy to Vienna, Austria. It was
only you.
I feel the same way, where I was like, am I really here? Am I in the Dolomites right now? I'm in the Carpathian Mountains. We did a side trip to Slovenia, which that's a whole story in itself. We ended up with the drunkest restaurant owner I've ever seen at 2:00 in the afternoon, who was yelling at us, and then finally relented and sold us. All he could say in English was soup and strudel, and that's what we had for lunch.
That was it. Soup and strudel.
There's a tiny horse involved, and there was. That's true. That's absolutely true. And I find myself in these positions that I can't even believe I've been this lucky.
Man, it's unbelievable. And to go back to the beginning, okay. Yeah. You're born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, so
right, yeah.
You're a little Southern boy yourself.
Sure, yeah.
And your dad was a military guy, which is really funny, having you as a son.
100%.
Okay, yeah. And your mom was English, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that story alone
it all. Yeah.
is pretty interesting, right?
Yeah,
About mom and dad.
My dad met my well. That gets a little shady. So, do you know about this? So, my mom and dad meet in a bar. My dad had just had his heart broken, and he did what every red-blooded American kid did at that time, is he, got out of high school and he joined the military and he went to see the world, and he got his heart broken by this girl he loved, and so he joined the military, and then he gets stationed in England, just outside of Norwich, and he ends up in a bar, like all military guys do, and he meets a girl, and they start to date, and it goes on for months, and he falls in love with her. Finally, somebody tells my dad, one of her friends, takes him outside and goes, Bill, she's only 16 years old. And at the time, he's like 21 or 22. He was so upset. My mom said he threw up outside. He was like, but he didn't realize that at 16 was the legal age to drink, to be in a bar. In England.
Yes, right.
So he had no idea he was in love with a child. Wow. So I never let my dad forget he was a groomer, and that it was not okay. And then when I tell my mom, I go, Mom, come on. And she goes, they were different times. I'm like, it was okay to have sex with a child, but they were different times.
They were different times.
Right. Different times.
Right. So he was in England. So they get married, and they moved back to Memphis.
Oh yeah, Blytheville, Arkansas. Oh, wow. So my poor mom, who'd never experienced humidity at all.
Oh yeah, right.
And then imagine Southern accents asking you why you sound so weird. So my poor mom is just stuck in the middle of it had to be hell.
Right, and then they're asking her.
Right. Yeah.
What do you mean we're weird?
Yeah, 100%. That poor, she just barely got, through high school, would be the equivalent of high school in England. So she's just kind of stuck in a stranger in a strange land.
So what'd your dad do? What was he?
He Air Force.
Okay, so he was the Air Force guy the whole time.
Yep. Yeah. And then when he left that, my father went to do X-ray and CAT scans immediately. So he worked for Greb X-ray right here out of Kansas City back in the day. So Arkansas, then into Kansas City, worked for Greb X-ray. Then we moved back to England when I was a little kid in the 3rd grade, and I lived there for a few years.
Okay.
And then now to Hays, Kansas. And that's a sure way to, learn how to fight. is be a sixth grade kid with an English accent and a bowl haircut.
Yeah, right.
And I think my
Look
shoes.
like the Beatles.
Oh, and Bay City roller shoes with a little heel on them. Walking into a German, elementary school.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, you learn to scrap pretty quick.
Yeah, right. And you also have brothers, correct?
3 brothers.
You
Yeah.
have 3 brothers. Yeah. So your whole thing then is you're moving from spot to spot to spot. Were you always sort of the kid that was? Were you in trouble? Were you attention? Were you always looking for
always
a little bit of
attention?
attention? Yeah.
Well, you're always fighting for attention in 3, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I have 1 older, 2 younger, and all of us. My 2 youngest brothers always kind of hung together, and my older brother, and I were always kind of doing our own thing. So it was definitely a very different crew that it was. It was motorcycles are what got me at a very early age. In Hayes, Kansas, I wanted a motorcycle so bad I couldn't stand it. I saw it on television or I saw a movie, but I just couldn't stand it. And my dad took me to a little Honda dealership and said, if you can come up with the money, you can buy it. So I took a newspaper route. And if you've ever been to Hayes, the roads are like 75 feet wide. Like they're giant. Their residential roads are ridiculously wide. So when you'd have to deliver these papers, you couldn't go down the middle. You had to go to one side and up the other. And I'm a little kid.
Yeah.
And all you had were those big canvas bags. And you'd have to carry hundreds of these newspapers. And that's back when they were newspapers.
Yeah, they had stuff in them.
And then go collect the money with your little tabs.
That's right, the tags. My brother had a newspaper. He did
Yeah.
the same thing. I had to fill in for him sometimes. I go,
Yeah.
this is stupid.
It's
I'm not
crazy. And I'd get $8 and I'd walk a mile and a half up to Crispin Honda and I'd give him another $8. The guy would beg my dad to let me just have the motorcycle and I could take him the money later. My dad's like, when he pays for it, he can have it. And it was $400 or something, $400 or $500.
That's a lot of $8 trips.
That's a lot of $8 trips. Honda SL70 yellow changed my life.
Gosh, how old were you then?
I would have been probably, I guess I got there, so I would have been 10 years old.
About 10 years old. You're allowed to ride it then? You were okay?
Yeah, and we're out in the country, so.
Yeah, nobody cared.
And you would ride, and every day I'd go a little further away from home and by myself. And that freedom was scary and intoxicating, and I don't think I ever got over that. I think that's what hooked me on motorcycles till today. What was further away? It was scary to be that far away from home, but it was freedom, and it was exhilarating, and nobody could catch you. And that feeling stays with me today. What's over the next hill? What's around the next corner? That's why I still ride motorcycles today.
So how'd you get from Hayes to Olathe?
Just my dad's job changed. Went for another company, so I ended up in Olathe, Kansas, and got there in between 6th and 7th grade.
Okay. So again, it's another thing I've got to adjust to.
Yep.
A new school, new kids, or whatever. That also it either has a tendency to send you into a dark place, go hide in a cave somewhere, or I'm going to have to get along with everybody. I'm going to have to go out and just use my personality and make friends. Somehow,
Yeah. And that was I don't know about all that.
Yeah,
The
right.
personality part was, the problem was I had this loud mouth, right? And I'm a little guy. I mean, I really was a small, I grew almost 6 inches after I left high school. So, I mean, I was really slow coming on. I was a little guy with a lot to say. So sometimes it didn't work out for you.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's tell the story, which I think really started it. And I don't know if the idea of doing radio happened before or after this. Let's talk about the cafeteria and the expulsion from high school at that point.
It was senior year, and somehow, we all got to talking about just stuff. And I don't know. I think movies were doing senior pranks. It was that era in the 80s.
Yeah, sure.
84, 85, 86, where all those movies were about high school and coming of age, and there were pranks that were happening. And somehow we got it in our mind that we should ride mopeds through the cafeteria during lunch. And that us doing it turned into me doing it, turned into doing it without clothes on.
Naked.
I still talk about it. I go, that doesn't seem real, but it's very real. Shoes and a ski mask.
So you have this all planned out, though. I mean, you have an escape route set, but.
So, and people won't even believe this, but there was, and you'll know, there was a smoking lounge in high school, which sounds, even now telling it, people are like, stop lying to me. I'm like, no, you really could smoke in high school. So I had somebody holding the door at the smoking lounge, and I took off my clothes in a parking lot, and I rode through. And as you come through, there was a long hallway that went up into the cafeteria, into the big commons in the middle, and I was supposed to go left, And that was the smart way to go. But at the last second, there was the teacher's table on the right, and I had some pretty good amount of speed up, and I was like, I'm doing it. I'm going right past.
I'm gonna buzz the teacher's table.
Terrible idea. Vice principal stood up and clotheslined me straight off of it. Just like, gang. And so I come up, and now I'm like, oh, this is so bad. And you suddenly are very naked. Like you weren't.
You're upright.
Yeah. You weren't on a motorcycle going fast naked. You were standing still naked. And he yanks me up, and I'm thinking, oh no. And everything just goes slow motion. And as he does, he's just yanking this ridiculous ski mask off. And instead of the jeers and the laughing and the pointing, I thought it was a roar. Like it was it was like, yeah. And I will tell you, I didn't know it, but my fate was sealed.
Oh, absolutely.
Poor behavior equals acceptance. And I mean, you don't have to go to a therapist to see how that worked out for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's right. Now, when did you pick up the Johnny Dare? Was that the Dare, or was it way before? When did you pick up the name?
that didn't come until I had to have a radio name.
Oh, really?
So Greg and I from the morning show.
Right, Greg Toad.
Yeah. And so Greg and I worked at a record store together, Streetside Records, 95th and Antioch, and then we had a skateboard shop together, Graffiti Street. And so we'd been friends since I was 16 years old. And he got a job. I went on to become I was going to be a fireman.
Right.
And I was going to grow up. And so I took my associate of fire science degree, and I became an EMT, and then I was following through with that, and I really liked the MICT program. So as I was going through all that, I left the skateboard shop. Greg got a job in radio, and at Q104 as a board op, and it sounded very exciting, a board operator. So you're in the studio. Sounds like now we know.
You know those guys?
Yeah. So all you are, you're the guy who hits the commercial button. Right. It's a terrible job. And but I started hanging out with him because I got a job at an ambulance company, Huckabee Ambulance on 18th and Central. And so I ran KCK for a year and a half, 2 years down there, which that's a whole nother world. And,
right.
But what happened was I started hanging out with Greg on my 48 hours off. So 24 on, 48 off. And that's how I ended up in radio and doing the Z-Rock, which was an AM 1030 syndicated heavy metal deal.
About the early 90s, right? About 1991.
Yeah.
But the things you probably saw as an EMT must have been
everything.
Just unbelievable.
And that plays into the same thing. It's not hard to imagine. Why did you I like helping people. And I obviously I have a problem with, I got a bad case of the look at me's, my dad would say. He'd go, kid, that boy's got a case of the look at me's. And what's cooler than rolling up in an ambulance with the sirens going and red lights, and there's a bad scene, you come screeching to a halt, and you have the answer to help somebody? Like, what's cooler than that?
Yeah.
And I mean, same reason you picked being a fireman. You go, what do I want to be? I want to be something fun. I want to do something that's good. I want to be seen in a certain light, right? Mm-hmm. And again, it always comes back to that same feeling, that same need. I'm sure, all the way back to the beginning of this conversation. 4 boys fighting for attention, trying to figure it out, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But I loved it. I mean, I've been shot at, beat on, choked. I mean, you name it. I mean, that was KCK. I mean, Quindaro, that was all ours.
That's 24. No wonder you're on 24 and you're off 48. You needed to recover at that point because stuff, you probably didn't have a day where you just had your feet propped up waiting.
Never.
It was one after another just running.
Well, and that was the days, and this is a side deal, but some guys in Kansas City will remember this. Before it was all decided exactly how it was going to be, there were private ambulance companies in KCK, and you would fight with the CARE guys, K-A-R-E, that was the firefighter guys. Mm-hmm. And before they made a decision to be completely done as a municipality, you could argue and fight and try to get to a call before the other guys.
Yeah, right.
So it was this ridiculous idea, like being a car salesman with human bodies.
Yeah.
Like you just had to be the first on the scene in order to claim the scene, so you could get the money from the insurance.
That's exactly right. You didn't you throw in some guy on a stretcher I got one guy's goes right arm, you got his left arm.
And I worked for a company that wasn't always the best staffed, and the units weren't always the newest. And so we would regularly borrow from a better ambulance to the point where everybody had to start marking all their stuff. Yeah. Like you'd pull up to Bethany Hospital, it isn't there anymore, and you'd be like, oh, look at that. That is a nice spine board they've got there.
That's right.
We still got it. We don't have it.
Hey, listen, We'll work on him. You go take care of the truck. Yeah. Go get the stuff. It's almost like the tow company.
100%.
Right, just like
exactly like the tow companies.
First come, first serve.
Yeah.
God, that's crazy. Okay, so you get with Greg. Greg's bored up. You think that's great. Then when did it hit you that, okay, I've been picking up enough bodies off the streets here in Quindaro. So when did it hit you go, I think I want to do, Greg, what can I do, or what is the deal? And I know you talked about 1991.
Well, we just fell into it like we always did. He had this job, and, you just sit around and talk about it. So I go, what if we did this? And so we do a little bit of something. Then we went to the program director. We go, can we take an hour off this satellite program and do it ourselves? And it started as the Hour of Power at 3 o'clock. My vote, by the way, was 667, the neighbor of the beast, and it was what I wanted to call it. And so that got voted down, and we became the Hour of Power. And but then we started this character. He became Beezer, KBZR, and that was his on-air name. And we had to come up with one, so that's how Johnny Dare thing came from. Just all the silly stuff we were doing all the time.
Yeah, sure. All the dares. You go back right to high school. Somebody dared
always,
you.
Always.
Oh, I dare you. Okay, we're not going to do it now, but you go do it.
Right.
Okay, so fine, I'll go do it. Yeah,
and if I didn't, trust me, if I'd have thought it was going to last this long, I would have chosen a little more carefully.
Really?
You go, are you going to be Johnny Dare at age 50? So that's what,
Yeah.
And again, it fits now, but I thought, God, I mean, you gave it about 12 seconds of thought, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You go, what will I be? Johnny, what, Dare? Fine, good, go. Let's just go do this.
Yeah.
And you never thought about it. There was no long-term thinking.
No. Oh, gosh, no. You didn't think it'd be on the weekend.
Never.
I mean, you were just
never
doing your thing. So you're in promotions now for a while, right?
Yep, working with Mike Kennedy.
And that show was actually a national show, right? It was sort of a satellite radio program.
Well, the satellite was, but we were only local.
Okay.
So it was national from Z-Rock, but our part was only local. So we're on a little AM 1030 radio station, but it's really moving the dial because nobody had ever done that before. Nobody played Slayer, Metallica, or these bands.
Yeah.
And we were killing it right up to the time the Rock signed on. Then, the Rock, as we know, at 98.9, and it changed everything in Kansas City radio. Like, you could feel the air go out of the sails. Like, we were definitely gaining some popularity, and we're talking small shares, but for an AM daytimer, those who know about it, it's a 1,000 daytime.
Yeah, and as soon as the sun goes down, you're off the air.
Yeah.
Winter, you're off at 4.
Yeah.
Or if summer, you're on till 9.
Or under a bridge. Yeah.
That's right.
And,
exactly, yeah.
And so this station came on, and it was a juggernaut. I mean, we were like, and
so we have to get there. Right?
Yeah.
And so talk about the promotions in the van.
Oh, good Lord. Oh. So the infamous Q104 mobile studio. It was a Winnebago. Now, it was the size of it was, do you remember Stripes?
Oh, yeah.
The movie? So that GMC Winnebago is exactly the one we're talking about, only theirs was painted yellow and had a giant mast in it. And back in the day, when you would want to do a remote shot, you had to hit the Smarty signal. And this thing had a custom-made mast, and the base of it was as big around as a 50-gallon drum, and then it would telescope up.
Yeah.
And then it would shoot out the top, and then it would raise up, and you could hit the tower. And that was my job.
From wherever you were, yeah.
Drive it out there, get ready for the talent, had a little studio in the back, and then wait it out. And I was working, 7 days a week. These guys would run you as much as you would do. So I would do it all. I loved it. And I'd roll up, do the thing. And we were at that country club, and when I say country club, it was a country music bar. There was a bunch of crazy rednecks dancing in a line, out by Bannister Mall. Do you remember? It was
not Guitars and Cadillacs. That was in Westport.
Right, but it was a giant one.
Okay.
There was like 1,500 goobers in this thing, line dancing. The music was so bad. Like, it's so bad. It was just a boot scooting boogie every day.
Tulsa two-step.
Oh. And so I probably was on my 4th remote of the day. Like, you get up, do 2 car remotes, a radio, some kind of a food remote, and then this thing would happen at 10 o'clock, and it would go till midnight or 1. Mm-hmm. And, of course, you're drinking.
No,
it's just
naturally.
Right.
Why wouldn't you?
So I get ready to leave. Goodbye, everybody. And I drive away, and I hear this incredible explosion, and I see this bright flash of light, and I'm like, and all of a sudden there's a crash to the side of me. And I'm like, what is happening? I'm a little slow on the uptake at this point. And I realize there's a toilet sitting in the seat, in the passenger seat of this GMC Winnebago. And what had happened was I drove away, hit a high tension line. It broke the mast out from the bottom, broke it kicked the toilet that it was behind, through a door, and through the thing, and landed in the front seat of the passenger side. And now there's high tension lines going, brum, brum, brum. And I called the engineer, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Lee Wheeler. I go, Lee. And he goes, whatever you do, don't get out. Don't get out of the RV. I go,
Don't
okay.
touch any metal.
Yeah. So I'm standing there, and now I got a lot of time to think about what I've done now. And I look up, and there's an 8-foot hole in the top of this RV where the mast had been ripped backwards. So I never dropped it. When I left, I packed away the cords. I did everything, but I never hit the down button, let the air out of the mast, and let the thing go back inside. And I thought, well, we're done. It was a Saturday night. Monday morning, I'll always remember Kathy Steinauer, Mike Kennedy. Kathy was the general manager, Mike Kennedy, and it was owned by Noble Broadcasting, who was John Lynch, the football guy.
Yeah.
And his son now is a big deal, John Jr.
Yeah.
And Lynch, this is back when individuals owned radio stations. You know, they owned companies. Like, it wasn't this conglomerates we see today.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a sense of humor. And so I'll always remember Kathy Steiner, for whatever reason she liked me, and Mike, and they knew what had happened. And there's the phone, there's Kathy, there's Mike, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, this is my last day. She goes, I have to ask you something. Just tell me, were you drinking? And I saw the smallest, almost imperceptible, like little
exit gate.
Just say no, John. I go, no, ma'am. And she's like, all right, well, good enough. Get out of here. And that saved my job.
Yeah.
Why she saved my job that day, I meant nothing to the radio station. I couldn't do anything for them. I wasn't talent. I wasn't bringing any revenue. Right. Why that lady stood up for me that day when I clearly had effed up so I'd screwed. I mean, you did the terrible. You drove the equipment drunk. You've destroyed everything, man. I mean, it was bad.
We can't go back on the air.
Yeah.
For a remote, they made tons of money on the remotes, too.
Yes, I'm crazy. And but those guys, I think about how many people put their hand on my back throughout my career, and it's a considerable amount of people.
Yeah, it really is. And it's funny, just those little things where you could easily have been fired. And then all of a sudden,
and you're never getting back
to go back to the ambulance. Where am I going next? What am I going to do? All that sort of thing. So
and I hadn't even thought about being on air. I just liked it. And my dad was super mad because I went from making an acceptable adult wage, my dad felt, and respectable job.
Well, you're living on your own. You weren't calling in for money every week, right?
Right. And so, and he's like, what are you doing? And I go, I'm going to work in radio, Dad. And I mean, we used to laugh. Mike would get mad. I'd tape a check on the door, a paycheck. It'd be $7 or $17 or something. He'd go, don't tape your paychecks to the door. It's stupid. Like, it makes you feel bad. And so at that point, there was a decision that got made. My dad was so mad. He was like, they're using you. And I'm like, yeah, it's called an internship, Dad. Yeah. Like, I'm going to learn here. I think I can do it. And he goes, and I honestly, I remember thinking Randy Miller, who probably is the best that's ever worked in this market, one of the smartest, most clever, most truly innovative guys.
Yeah, he sat where you're sitting.
Dude, he knows. I've always been a huge fan.
Yeah.
And but I remember thinking, well, why not me? Like, I'm watching what he's doing. Now, I don't think I'm ever going to get to that place, but I see what they're doing. Like, I'm understanding it. And so I just took that leap. And then shortly after that, they let me be a promotions director, assistant promotions director, and they gave me a whopping $17,000 a year.
See, this is what people don't understand about this business. When you first start out, you make nothing.
No,
people think they're going to walk out and make $150,000, especially TV guys. Think they're going to walk out and they're going to come to Kansas City right out of school.
No,
and I'm going to make $150,000, $200,000 a year. It just doesn't work that way.
And it never occurred to me. It wasn't a deal. My rent was $400 a month.
Yeah,
I was like, I can make that. I can make $400 a month. I can get a gig. I can go work those.
I can drink on remotes.
That's 100% exactly. And by the way, those were free drinks.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's what happened. And then I got a call from a guy named Doug, and it just changed my life, man. And John Schweitzer, over at The Rock. And
I remember John, yeah.
And I mean, we're still friends to this day because he put his hand on my back.
Yeah. I think you're friends with almost all these people that you've ever dealt with. I think when they came to you for The Rock, okay, 1993, I think.
Yep,
right?
August of 93.
Was it Dan Sorensen?
Doug.
Doug Sorensen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Doug Sorensen.
Yeah.
That gave you the call and said, hey, you want to do this?
Well, we'd go to lunch. He'd have me to lunch. And Doug was a super quirky, weird guy. Like, he's passed now. But we all loved him. We still talk about the quirky Doug stuff. He was the weirdest guy and the sweetest guy, but he was such an, like looking back, it's hard to explain Doug. He had the corniest, most terrible sense of humor. He'd hide under he's a grown man, and he's in charge of a $40 million radio station. And you'd walk by his office and you'd hear him go, "Hey, John." And you'd look in and you go, "Doug, you're under your desk. I know you're under your desk." And he'd stand up and be like, "Almost got you." And I'm like, "You didn't almost get me, Doug. You did not almost get me."
You're always under your desk.
Yeah. So he was just this quirky guy, but he was such a wonderful guy, and he saw so much in people. But he'd take me to lunch, and we'd talk. And about 4 lunches in, I go, "Doug, I love these lunches." And I go, "You're a cool guy. Do you guys want to hire me?" And so they made an offer, and I had to go back to Kathy Steinauer, the lady who saved me.
That's right.
The day of the terrible mass destruction. And she had a reputation for if you quit, it was bad. And I mean, I'm shaking, and I'm like, "Kathy, Miss Steinauer, I have this opportunity, And she completely surprised me. Again, another person, she goes, "That's wonderful. Let's go to lunch." And she took me to lunch. Yeah. Instead of becoming an outcast, because I was terrified of letting her down because she'd been great to me. And so I went on, and I got with this guy named Treetop Tyler. And it was like oil and water. Like,
no,
it just wasn't.
This isn't going to work.
And he didn't care for me. And so he ended up taking a job. He got a job in New York City, which was unbelievable. But he was feeling pretty spiteful, so he didn't tell anybody till like the last day. And all of a sudden, I'm just sitting in this room by myself. Now I have no experience, no idea how this works. And I'm sitting in this room like this, in a chair like this, with a microphone like this. And I have to learn how to use the CD players, how the Denons work, right. how I have to learn to read a log. I'd never had to read a log before, a commercial log.
Time I've got to be off.
Right. and Doug just goes, and there's no book, no guidance, nothing. So then they hired a lady named Murphy Wells, who came in. She came from Washington. She had experience and just incredible talent. Rick, really, like she knew how to do it. She was a rock solid. And so there's 2 of us now, and I'm just talking, and I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. But one day we do something, and the phone lines go, and that's back when you could see all the phone lines, and all of a sudden,
because you had to hit the button the whole time.
And all of a sudden they were all ringing, and I was like, well, let's take those calls. We take those calls. I'm like, well, that, Doug goes, "That was good today."
Right.
And I go, okay.
And all of a sudden it just goes like this. You're an hour and you've played one song.
That's right.
You've just played one rock song.
And you're like, I should do that again.
Yeah.
And
I'll do that tomorrow.
That's right. And that's the beginning of it all.
So when you got with Murphy Wells, Johnny Darren Murphy, your Arbitron ratings just went through the roof. And you spent a lot of time with her. She was not your hire at that time, though, right?
No, she was. Doug grabbed her.
They brought her in, right.
Just a cold meeting of 2 people.
And it just worked.
Right.
It just worked. Yeah.
And it just... she was such a rock solid. She was just this bass. Like, she'd do her news, and she was very old school news and radio oriented. So what that means by that is she held it down. Mm-hmm. Whereas I'm pinging off the walls, and I'm just trying to figure this thing out.
She was the sane person of the 2.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And, but we say before Arbitron took off, I crashed that show to a 3-share, which the station was doing huge numbers, monster, everything except mornings. Treetop had it at a 7, so for people to understand this, the rating system, at night, AJ, from 7 to midnight, person's 1834, probably had somewhere in the 13 to 15 share. And so to crash something to a 3-share, 12 plus, that's ages 12 and over, I was like, oh, this is bad. Like, this is over. This is in the first 6 months. But we ended up getting a little traction, a little more traction, and a little more traction. And the thing that broke it open for us was Randy Miller. And I don't know if you know the story, but Randy was set up to do a promotion called Buried Alive. Mm-hmm. And it was with a car lot in Lansing. Last second, he decided he didn't want to do it. And Randy, and again, I'll tell you, I think he's the most talented guy that ever worked in this market. But he's also known for decisions.
Last seconds.
Yeah. So Doug comes to me and he goes, hey, these guys approached us. It's already paid for. There's a thing called Buried Alive. I go, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, you'd be in a coffin and you'd be buried alive. And I go, what are we talking? He goes, well, this is how it's set up. There's a guy named Dr. Silkini, and they've been doing this shtick on the road like basically they would tour it through the South in the 50s like they were magicians. And they really were, you really are buried alive. You really are in a coffin. And people would come from miles around to see the buried alive people. And he made money, but then he had started to get into radio and build these promotions with these guys. So I go, all right, I'll do it. But it has to be real. I'm not going to do it just to do it because it was Halloween. I go, let's raise some money. Let's make this worthwhile. So this is our first jump into it. I go, let's do it for harvesters. We'll raise money for homeless and we'll raise food for the food banks. And it's in Lansing, which is about 1 million miles away from Kansas City in 1994. Yeah. And
some dirt roads are involved.
Oh, I mean, it's just so you couldn't get a worse situation. You know, you're far away from the city. You're a guy with no ratings. Nobody's paying attention to you. And we go in, about 16 people show up. It's a guy named Dr. Selkini, and it's pretty interesting the way the whole thing plays out. And we did it very real, and they put you in this coffin, they nail it shut, and the dirt comes on top of you, and you can hear it getting quieter and quieter and quieter. And there's an air tube that comes down, and we're wired so you can be on the air the whole time. But Doug and I go, I want everybody in on this. So he was such an interesting program director. So imagine some kid with no experience and no wins under his belt dictating, hey, this is what I want to do for 36 hours on your radio station. And he said, okay. And the afternoon guy, Wes Jeffries, Valor Knight in the afternoon, everybody stayed with it. So it was a by-the-moment update of how it's going, how the money's raising, what it's like to be in that coffin. Yeah. And you start selling it. It's real. And it caught fire in the news somehow, and it went morning and then afternoon, or noon news, afternoon news, and night news, and 10 o'clock news, and everybody picked it up. And they were telling me this, but it's not, I don't understand it.
Right, because you're in a coffin.
Right, yeah. So 24,
you're buried alive.
It goes to 24, and then it goes up to 36. So it'll be the evening of the next day. And they're trying to tell me, there's a lot of people here. And I'm like, okay. And I'm one out at this point. And they open up that lid, and I come out, and there's probably 8,000 people, and they've smashed cars on this lot. There's people who have stood on top of cars to get a look at it, and cars are being damaged, and the car lot's freaking out, and all the news is there, and I'm like, holy, my mom and dad are there. Like, it's, to see this, like, it had become such a story. And I remember John Schweitzer pulled me into his office the next day, and he said, hey, it's going to be different for you from now on. And I go, okay. It was a 36-hour window. Nothing can change. And it absolutely,
he knew.
It changed. It changed everything. And so people gave the show a try because that huge amount of publicity.
Yeah.
And it the planets lined up.
Yeah, it just took off from there, didn't it?
Yeah.
Your ratings then just went through the roof.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
And it was amazing because your ratings stayed. You stayed. Murphy Wells left after about 10 years.
Yep.
Right? She's been there about 10 years. And then Jennifer Johnson was on.
Double J. Yep.
And
Coogan.
Carrie Coogan, then Jennifer Johnson, I think, and then Nikki Pace, of course. But how did you talk? What was your criteria for when you wanted somebody to replace Murphy Wells? Right? Well, what was your criteria? What were you looking for? And what did you tell them when they came in to interview for these jobs?
We didn't even know. I mean, honestly, you don't know because you can never. That's the one thing I've learned. You can't replace anybody,
right?
Because they'll never. If you try to look for the same person, they're always going to be compared to the last.
Yes.
So Coogan comes along, and if you know Coogan,
oh yes, I worked with her on television. Yeah,
Coogan's crazy,
yeah,
in the best, sweetest, most beautiful way. Hard Catholic, hard religious, super. I mean, just quirky, like a quirky girl.
Yes.
She'd wear a trench coat on the air every day, and this isn't for effects. Like she was like a body language thing. She'd wear this, and she came in, and she was super tough, very strong. Grew up with brothers, so you'd screw with her, and she'd grab your wrist or grab your finger and turn it around and twist it off. Like she'd drop you to your knees.
Yeah, she got angry.
Yeah. She had that Irish anger, right? Mm-hmm. Like her cheeks would get ruddy, and her eyes would start popping. And I love Coogan. But you couldn't ask for a more different human being. Oh, and that was real. Like, like that, she really was that. Naive it sounds like an insulting word, but she was. She really was.
She was. Yeah, she was on our TV, and you could just tell, you try to joke with her. Thank God HR wasn't a big deal back then.
Right.
Okay, because you joke with her, and she'd look at you like that, and even I knew, and I'd cross all the borders anyway. Yeah. And even I knew, I'd look at her and go, Okay, I think I'll talk to this person over here.
100%.
Woo.
And then when it clicked, I mean, the listeners fell in love with her because it was so real.
Yeah, sure.
And so it's like having a little sister suddenly that you have to protect, but she's taking the ride with you, and she's cool. Like Coog was always cool.
Yeah, and she was there for about 3 years, right?
Oh,
3 or 4
at
years,
least
maybe.
3, 5, maybe 4 at least.
Right.
Yeah.
Then Jennifer Johnson.
Yep.
After that.
Yep.
Yeah. And she was there for a while until Nikki came, right? She's Nikki. I mean, Jennifer's there
Nikki.
probably.
Double J, I don't know how many years did she make it? Because
I think she was there till about 2000. I think she started in 11. That was after Coogan, and I
Yep.
think she went to about the 20s.
Yep.
So she was there at least probably 9 or 10 years before
yeah.
Nikki came on. Yeah.
and then Nick was, Nick was just amazing.
Nikki was great.
Like,
Nikki was great. Yeah.
and why I'm super thankful for everybody that was ever part of the show. Nikki's like the one you go, oh, I wish you'd have been here the whole time. Like, because she is like, I mean, there's a lock in that. She's one of us.
Yeah.
You know, she grew up on the Avenue, and not same as all of us, like rough start,
Street smart.
very much so. And she's got a great work ethic, and she's married to the guy who gave me my start in radio, Mike
Yeah.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
And so my love for him and respect for him is super deep. And but Nick is she's a monster, funny, smart, works hard as anybody else. Like I love that girl.
Yeah. She's awesome. She's just really great. We're going to get into some of the stuff that you did on radio, but you were also extremely loyal, like we had talked about before. Greg Tote, of course.
Yeah.
And everybody has nicknames, Mr. Horsepower. Keith Jordan was T-Bone.
T-Bone, yeah.
And Jake the Snake, I have no idea what Jake's last name was.
Jake Jeffries.
Jake Jeffries, okay,
Yeah.
Jake the Snake, and then Cal Kurtz as well.
Yeah,
This is, you're thinking about radio and you're thinking about people, there might be 2 people on the air involved and then the board up and that's it. Or you might have a producer guy who went out and ran down trying to get
100%.
your interviews. But you guys all just sort of blend together. But you had a big crew. I mean,
Well,
this is really
I learned
big.
early on that, if you want to be successful, get talented people.
Yeah.
And that's what the show always
Surround
was.
yourself with
100%. I was lucky enough that my name was on the top of the marquee.
Yeah.
But the truth is, without them, it doesn't work at all. Greg is simply the most talented human being I've ever known. T would do anything. Like T-Bone, I tried to find something he wouldn't do. The only thing he ever said no, and he still ended up doing it, was riding a bull, just wearing one of those. Remember those foam cowboy hats?
Oh, yeah.
We found a guy who had a bull riding school and sent him out there.
This wasn't the mechanical bull.
No,
that's
a
in the
real
country
bull.
western place.
He went out, he got on, and he ran off. And this was all live on the air. And he was truly scared. And I was like, I talked him into it. He still broke his tailbone.
He did?
He did. But he climbed on a bull. I mean, I couldn't find anything. Everything from flew him down to Florida one time. There was a news story about a little kid in a condominium, a group of condos. There was a hot tub, and the kid had MS. And there was an age limit on the hot tubs. And so there was a big national news story about how mean these people were not letting this little boy with multiple sclerosis get in because it made him feel better, give some relief. And so we sent T down. What would you do? T, you're going down there and you're going to go to the bathroom in the hot tub. And this is one of the first things. So we fly him down with a handful of laxatives.
Which everybody usually does. Anyway.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right? Well, only we're going to go number 2.
Yeah, I got you. I know where you're going.
So we get there, and there's that line of trucks, and he's telling us, he goes, there's semis going down the street with those big uplinks. Every major news outlet's there. So he has to go around the back. We're on these cell phones back in the day, and this is in the 90s. And he jumps over the fence, he gets in the hot tub, and he's putting the bullets in. Right,
dropping the kids at the pool.
Yeah,
for real.
But first he's going to load the gun, right? Because we're not taking them orally.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so he's undoing these, and they're pretty fast acting, and then it all starts to happen, and we're live the whole time, and again, it seems like it happens in seconds, but it's just, some of the breaks were 45 minutes long on this, and he'd try to get out, and it would start to happen. And of course, you want to get away from it, and he'd jump out and realize, I have to jump back in because it's still happening. So he's jumping back in the thing, and he's just going through this terrible turbulence. Like it's all happening on him, and it's all live. And I mean, it's so real, and he's so unknowingly funny about it, because it's just genuine. It's not. There's no put on, and so I mean, he had no boundaries, none. We almost got him on a sex offenders list one time because we covered him. The lottery had gotten up to $100 million. So we covered him naked in lottery tickets and sent him out and told him he couldn't come back until he was naked and put him out a corner. What we didn't know, there was a school that was close. And when the cop came, the
guy was the crossing guard.
He was a little close to the school, and they threatened to put him on the sex offenders list.
Gosh.
So, he had no boundaries.
Oh God!
So that was we were just cooking up stuff to do every day, and it did eventually come back to bite us.
Yeah. Well, Well, we will talk about that. This is we will go through some of these. That was Naked Twister.
Yes.
I think, right? Okay,
yeah,
so now we get to the FCC.
Yeah.
Now you're getting the government involved, okay?
Right.
Not just the local police and a crossing guard. Okay, so talk about Naked Twister and the fiasco that created.
See, and it makes me crazy because it's radio. You can't see it. We're describing it, but you can't see it.
Well, you're graphically describing it, yes. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
And that's absolutely true, but we're not using any of the words you can't use.
Right.
It's just description. And
George Carlin's
absolutely
7 bad words, yeah.
Right. So we're going through that, and there's an adult actor named Ron Jeremy, and that was part of the complaint.
Porn star, Ron Jeremy.
And he could how do I say it? Self, and there was a long discussion about that. And then there was another adult film actress, a porn star named Sunset Thomas, who was with a gentleman named from the Bunny Ranch, and so Dennis Hoff. And Dennis was a friend of ours. We would go out and broadcast live on Valentine's Day from the brothel in Carson City, Nevada.
Right.
And so what we found out later was one of our competitors they knew. They would transcribe it, they would tape it, and send it to the FCC because they knew eventually they were going to pick it up. And because that's really the only way. We were never complained by a regular citizen. We found out later it was a competitor.
Oh, they always are, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like trying to get you off the air.
Right.
Somebody tries to move you out of Kansas City, send you somewhere else because he's killing us.
So that comes in, and we're terrible. I mean,
sure.
It's Bob at the time. Bob Edwards, our program director, is like, hey, dude, this is the stuff like you don't get past this part because they're coming in hot. And you're talking about starting at $250,000 per utterance. And then we just got on the air in Wichita, which means they also got it's now we're at $500,000, and they're talking about tacking some more on.
Yeah.
And when the FCC comes for you, there's nothing you can do. There's no court you go to and argue about it. You either pay or they pull your license.
Right. So the deal was the FCC chairman actually comes to Kansas City.
Oh,
okay.
That's a slightly same thing.
Right.
Same. So yes,
the FCC chairman comes to Kansas City, and they say, Johnny, we're going to put you on witness protection for a weekend.
But they didn't tell me.
Where did they didn't tell you. So where'd they send you for the weekend?
Bob comes to me and he goes, hey man, you've been doing a great job. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah. He goes, the company really appreciates what you've done, and the ratings are great. And he goes, we'd like to give you a trip to Las Vegas. You ever been to Vegas? And I go, no, I've never been to Vegas. He goes, we're going to put you and your girlfriend up at a suite at Mandalay Bay. We're going to rent you a car. We're going to get you a Mustang convertible. And we're going to fly you there. And he did. They flew us there in first class. I never sat in first class. Mm-hmm. And to this beautiful suite at Mandalay Bay. And like a Wednesday through a Sunday. And rented us a car. And I was like, well, this is how you live. Like, now these guys are getting it.
Yeah.
Now they're treating me as I should be.
I'm Johnny Dare.
Yeah, right? And come to find out, the truth was the FCC chairman was going to be in town, and he was doing some work here, and they in no way wanted me to be live so they could control my own company could control it, but they weren't going to tell me.
Either that or him talk to you.
Right.
One or the other, right?
Right. They were terrified about what the show would sound like.
Right. So they talked about the size of the fine. And this is the quote from the FCC. They were pandering, there was titillation, etc. They have been fined for the egregious nature of the violations in Entercom's history of prior indecent broadcast. So there you are.
I would love to tell you that there wasn't a sense of pride.
It's the biggest fine ever. This is the greatest.
And then there's another quote that we said, they're the single biggest offenders in America today. And
we're number one.
Dude, seriously. Again, what do we come back to now? Poor behavior equals acceptance.
Exactly.
And the ratings kept getting bigger and bigger. And we had a general manager at the time. I lovingly referred to her as Crotch. We didn't get along.
Yeah.
And you've worked for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Some are great. Bob Zerwesty, an incredible general manager. John Schweitzer, an incredible general manager. I've worked for some great general managers. Even Dave Albert, who we didn't always get along, but he's a smart cat, right? But this one, so she brings us in, and now this is directly after the FCC fine hits, and she goes, we've got to do some PR. And I go, why are we going to do PR? I go, we know our competitors sent it in. This wasn't a complaint from a listener. I go,
this is the greatest branding in the history of radio.
100%. I go, what are the ratings? Well, we're number one. And in what categories? All of them. I go, so we're going to apologize to people that already like us? And come to find out, her sister ran a PR firm. So these are the things, and you've been in this business a long time.
Yeah.
Hell, we're just saving them from themselves half the time. I'm just looking at people going,
exactly right.
I mean, that's half your job is the show's one thing, and that's super fun. The rest of the day is just keeping the creeps to keep their hands out of it.
That's right. The deal is, too, then once they take you off there, they go, oh, geez, yeah, I guess they were really good, weren't they?
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Okay, the rocket car.
Oh, Bob Zerwesty. Oh, my God. He was so upset. So at KCIR, remember KCIR Raceway?
Oh, sure.
Kansas City International Raceway, legendary. And,
Drag racing strip.
And so they have it's a T-38 jet engine on a top fuel chassis, and it's an exhibition thing. There's going to be a big race, but the big draw is this T-38 jet engine, and it pushes it at 240 miles an hour down the speedway. So I go, bring it to the stations. The guy brings it, and I go, we're going to fire it up. We're in the middle of Westwood. So he backs it in, and they chalk the front wheels, and they fire a T-38 jet engine on the back of this, and it would just do this thing where they go, woo, and they called it sonic booms, and they'd give it a little of the fuel. It would go, kaboosh, and this giant plume of smoke would shoot out, and fire would shoot out, and it was an explosion. Like it was a bomb went off. And we're doing it, we're crying. We're in the studio, watch us, like laughing. And I don't realize the havoc we're going. It scorched the grass. It set a tree on fire. It broke the windows out of a house in a neighborhood. And I'm out there on the phone, and I'm talking to the guy, and they're piping me back over the radio. And Bob Zerwesty comes out, and he's like, turn it off. And I'm like, Bob, I can't hear you. You want to hear it again? Do it again. And people in the building thinks an explosion had happened. The guys at the news station had crawled under the desk and said, there's been an explosion here at KMBZ. KMBZ, there's been an explosion here in Westwood. There's been an explosion here in Westwood. And so it's gone nuclear. It was, and it took Bob a while to see the humor and all that. But he did. He was always a great general manager.
How you survived all these things
is
absolutely amazing.
I have no idea.
Then you have the flamethrower.
Oh, sure.
We need Bolter eventually, yeah.
Oh, multiple flamethrowers, man. We'd let ladies come in on, and I feel like it's a good thing. It's kind of an emotional thing to go through a divorce, and you want some kind of control, right? Some kind of closure. So we'd invite ladies down, and believe it or not, you can buy flamethrowers completely legal online. And I'm not talking little flamethrowers. I'm talking, I have one
industrial.
I have one that'll shoot 120 feet.
Oh, God.
I have one that'll dump 3 gallons of gas in 6 seconds. A hose this big around. It is unbelievable how powerful it is.
I don't even want to ask you what you use that for or why you have it.
Set stuff on fire. What do you mean, what do I use it for? I said you set stuff. There's no use for it.
Start the grill.
How many times have you said to yourself, I want to set that on fire, but it's too far away?
That's right.
And so we would let ladies bring their wedding dresses, and on Valentine's Day, set fire to it. So we'd strap the whole thing, flamethrower to them, put the gun in their hand. It's about this big, like you've seen military style, with a CO2 tank on it, and then a scuba tank that holds the fuel, and let them blast that. So we sent Clint Boyer one when his first child was born as a baby shower gift.
Oh gosh, that is just awesome.
Yeah,
that's great. Okay, the Fonz, Henry Winkler, and your invitation to dinner.
That's such a. I wish we had the clip, because. So our friendship, and it's grown into a beautiful friendship, but it started pretty sketchy. Jake and I are both huge Fonz fans. We grew up with
and he loves KC.
Yeah, so, very much so. And
a lot to do with you.
And you know, like when we were kids, we watched Happy Days.
Sure.
And it was Tuesdays at 7:00, and you just didn't miss it. And he was this incredible actor and this character. So he's coming to Kansas City to do a World of Wheels, and he's going to do a signing. And it's our first time ever having him on the air. So we're gushing and we're fanboys, and it's very real. And he at one moment he says, Johnny, dinner Saturday night. And I go, yes. And he goes, what's a good place? He never heard me. And you have to understand this. He was never asking me to dinner.
No, right.
I thought he was asking me to dinner. And then he says, what's a good place? And I realized in that nanosecond, everybody just heard me accept a non-existent dinner invitation. And I go, oh, like this on the air. And we just keep on moving through it. I don't say a word to him. And that clip, Greg immediately isolates. Johnny, dinner, Saturday night. Yes. What's a good place? Oh. And it's such a funny, terrible, humiliating moment that it got played 1,000 times in a week. It just over and over again. And then isolate just down to, oh. So everybody in line that weekend that talks to Henry then is bringing this up. And they keep asking. So I start getting these messages on my phone. And I still have them. I don't know if I can.
Oh, I never erase them.
And I don't know if I can get them up here in times, but I'll tell the story why I do. So we end up in there, and I keep getting these phone calls from Henry Winkler, and now I'm afraid somebody hasn't told the story correctly, that he thinks we've said something bad about him.
Right.
You understand? I love this man. I love the character, the Fonz. I don't know him yet, but I'm a huge what's happening here, and I'm going to my voicemails. And I have to go all the way to the very back. He keeps calling my phone and asking me, hey, bud, what's up? I heard we're supposed to go to dinner. And I won't pick the phone up because I'm afraid he's mad at me. Yeah. I honestly think he's mad at me. And I'm like, the last thing in the world, I'm like, oh, because the telephone game works, right?
Oh, yeah.
We all know now what the real truth was, but that gets changed as things get repeated.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And we finally connect. He comes back on the air. And we have a breakfast. I have breakfast catered in, and he comes in, and we just put 2 mics down like this and food, and we just have a conversation while we're eating. And it started the most beautiful friendship, one of my favorites in the world.
Yeah.
He is one of the kindest, sweetest, most genuine. I can tell you when I got let go from the show, first guy to email me when he found out, emailed me every single day for 2 weeks. Hey, man, this is just a bump in the road. Who do you want me to call? Is there something I can do for you? Hey, just know, I've gone through this, John. I've been without a gig. And he was so unbelievably considerate, and the gig. Yeah, sometimes you get fired, people lose your phone number. He leaned wholeheartedly 180 degrees the other way.
Right.
And we eat dinner when he comes in town. We stay in touch. When I was sick, when I got pancreatitis, my phone was turned off and I was in the hospital for 9 days and I was just super janked out on fentanyl. It was a bad scene. And I get home and I'm pretty fragile emotionally because I've just been through this. And I start hearing these voicemails from Henry saying, hey, I hear you're sick. Will you please have someone call me to let me know how you are? And they're so beautiful and so kind. I'm like, blah. Yeah. But I'll tell you, I would, there's nothing I wouldn't do for Henry Winkler. I think he's the epitome of what a human being should be. He's grateful. He is helpful. He is kind. He's empathetic. He is everything good in this world.
Yeah. And you learn things from people like that.
100%.
As you go along. We'll talk about the charity stuff in a minute. Rockfest.
The best.
Okay, the best. Yeah. Just started out just a local rock and roll day at the Liberty Memorial.
Well, the first one was at Longview Lake.
Longview Lake. That's right. It was. Yeah.
And that's before I worked there. And then we went to Sandstone. It was at Liberty Memorial. Then went to Sandstone, and then back to Liberty Memorial, where it turned into that juggernaut.
Yeah.
It did. It just started as a way to promote the radio station. It was just bands that wanted to be played agreed to come do these music festivals for a radio station. And it used to be there's a bunch of radio station festivals.
Oh, sure.
But it turned into something completely different. Nobody else has evolved like Rockfest did. It went 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. Now we've outgrown Sandstone. Then it went 25,000. And actually there was a rub inside there, and we've since patched it up. But when we left Sandstone, Bob Edwards said, we're going to take it to another venue. And somebody in that group said, if you try it, it will never work. In fact, we will do everything we can. And this is not Sandstone saying it was somebody within that organization to fight you on that. You'll never, they didn't want us to take it. And that got Bob super hot. And then he shared it with the staff, and then it became a very personal issue. So these guys think they can stop Rockfest? And so everybody's went, it went crazy, and then it went 30,000, 35, 40,000, 45, 50,000. And I think the biggest one we ever had was 50,000 sold with almost 10,000 comps. So almost 60,000 kids in one day down there at Liberty Memorial. And it's a life-changing event. And I think, if you ever went to one, and it doesn't happen in every city.
Nope.
And it's a rare occurrence for things like that to happen. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime type thing.
Yeah, it is. And again, you get the government involved.
Yeah,
because of the mud and the rain one year, and FEMA's got to do whatever. People are blaming you for destroying the National World War I Museum.
What was her
the
name?
Liberty Memorial.
Oh, the council lady that went crazy on us, that we went sideways with.
That's right.
Oh, Aggie Stackhouse.
Angie Stackhouse.
Aggie. No, Aggie. And the reason it's Aggie is because we renamed an entire strip of porta potties Aggieville and made a banner. Because this is a lady, she was one of those she was a small cog in the bigger bureau.
Yes, right.
But the news knew to go to her for sound bites because she was super inflammatory. And she said things like, if those kind of people are going to be at our parks. And it's like getting lobbed a softball. You're like, I'm sorry, did you just say those kind of people? And I'm like, so it became the world against this politician who didn't think that we should have that there. And again, it fires people up.
Sure.
And
it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys actually took care of it all. Any of the damage is done. You took care of anything that had happened. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, it never damaged Liberty Memorial. It was Penn Valley Park.
Right.
And there wasn't a blade of grass left in that thing.
No,
But if you've ever been there, that place before we got there was nothing but like beer bottles and syringes. I mean, that was not a family park. And we resodded that and reseeded that every year. $50,000 worth of grass seed alone. Now, here's the crazy part. We had to provide that, which is fine.
Yeah.
But there's no sprinkler system out there.
No.
Nobody wanted it. We just went out.
Die anyway.
Yeah, we just went out there and laid it,
Winter's coming.
Yeah. And so you did it. But we were happy and we were glad. I mean, people loved it. It was beneath that beautiful, World War Memorial
awesome.
and the skyline, and it was pure Kansas City. I mean, that's really, I was talking to Bob about it the other day. Like, there's things you think back in your career, but I mean, walking up on that stage to introduce a headliner in front of 50,000 people, that feeling, and everybody smiling. We just had a great day, and it's once in a lifetime.
That is just awesome. Okay, you're a very charitable guy. Okay, probably trying to pay back for everything, all the bad things you did in life, right? That's typical of all of us. So, Bikers for Babies, Hope for the Holidays, and Hand Up, and all the great things you've done. Talk about that a little bit and how you got involved. Bikers for Babies is right up your alley because it involved motorcycles.
Right. I bought my first Harley 1 year prior, and they'd asked me to go down, and it was called the Governor's Ride at that time, and it was to benefit March of Dimes. And they started at River Market, and it went from, I don't know, I think they had like 40 or 50 bikes the first year to a couple hundred. So they were really enthused. They're like, well, that was good. Let's do it again. You want to do it again? I go, yeah. So it became, again, a juggernaut. And I visited some NICUs, and not having kids of my own, but I've got nephews, and of course my friends have kids. And even if you've never seen a child, you walk into a neonatal intensive care unit, and you see those little kids, like it'll change your life. You see those, I mean, they're small, and you see the faces on the parents, and the fear and the love, and I mean, it'll drive you. So we became very, very attached to this. And of course, we love motorcycles. So we started throwing our weight behind it, going, man, let's do a motorcycle ride. So that ride went 500, which was huge. And then it went to 1,000. And then it became an 8,000. I think the largest year we had was 8,000 registered at the Kansas Speedway. Right. 8,000 motorcycles. And people have to understand, if you do a big motorcycle ride in this city, it's 300. If you do 300 bikes, you've done something. And you really have done something wonderful. And that's not to demean any bike ride that's not that big. But this thing became a monster. So much so, it was the biggest one in the nation for March of Dimes. Friends like Dee Snider from Twisted Sister would come in. Tanya Tucker was their spokesperson one year. She came in and rode on the back of the bike one year. Harris Faulkner, who now works at Fox Snatch, so she rode on the back one year.
I worked with Harris too.
Yeah. Harris was, I just think about all the stuff and the money that we raised and the people I met along the way. Guys like Don Post, who's left us now, who had ALS and did all his volunteer work from a wheelchair. Penny Sharp, who was the pit bull. I met the volunteers and then the people you'd see year after year, people that lost their kids that were riding for a reason, and how much it meant to them. It was It was a beautiful time. 20 years of that was incredible.
Yeah, right. And you did 20 years. So
Yeah.
that was incredible. And of course, you're a big motorcycle guy. Full Throttle Saloon on True TV, right? Talking about Sturgis.
Yeah.
And I've never been to Sturgis. Okay, so what is that experience?
Well, it's the biggest motorcycle rally in the world.
Right.
And it's in the middle of nowhere. Terrible place for it. Like, I mean, you should never. It's Sturgis.
Don't go.
No. Well, it's like if you've ever been to South Dakota, it takes forever to get to South Dakota. If you've ever been to Rushmore, it's further than Rushmore from Kansas City. And though the short version is, it was the 85th this year. So 87 years ago, because they took 2 years out for wars. A guy named Pappy Hoyle and the Jack Pine Gypsies had a little motorcycle club. They did hill climbs, and that became a camp out, and that became something bigger. And then somewhere in the 60s and 70s, it became kind of an outlaw thing, and all the clubs started going through it. Like you've seen Sons of Anarchy.
Hell's Angels.
Yeah. So, and it became they just take over this town every year. And it went great, and it got bigger and bigger. And then motorcycling really caught on in the mainstream when Harley Davidson came out with that new Fat Boy and the Evo engine, and in the 90s, and it just exploded again. And that just grew this thing to, they estimate there have been years that have been 900,000 to 1 million people over the course of a week.
In that little area.
8,000 people live in Sturgis, South Dakota. And so
There's no place to stay.
No, so you had to invent these places. Like the first few years, we slept in cow fields. And I mean, you would just sleep, like you'd go up there and you'd have your tent.
Your tent and a patty.
That really was it. And then you would go find a place to take a shower. And then they started putting up campgrounds. And, there's a lot. That shows you how many people there, because they only make their money in 9 days, 9 to 15 days. And that's all that it's open. So when the Full Throttle Saloon came on, and my friend Jesse from Jackal and Mike Ballard became great friends, and I went down and did my first couple of broadcasts from a different place called the Broken Spoke, and Jesse said, man, you should have him. So that's where that friendship started between the three of us. Years go by, and they start up with this idea of a television show, this reality TV show. And Jesse, who's he's a singer for a rock band, so imagine he's trying to break this and get to Hollywood and sell this to these goobers, And he sounds like cornbread, wrong haircut, AC/DC shirt, but he's the smartest guy you'll ever meet. His ability to read the room and come in with exactly what needs to be done is, I believe the word is perspicacious. And
good word.
Thank you.
Look that one up. Hang on a second. How do you spell that?
So he gets in, and he goes after it for a couple of years. He gets turned down, but he doesn't let up. And about 3 or 4 years into this footage, he gets the go with this incredible guy. And we end up with Cheyenne Productions and shooting this. And I get a call. I'm in New York with my girlfriend, just on a little vacation. And I get a call in that Southern voice. And he goes, hey, man, where are you? And I go, I'm in New York City. And he goes, you got time to go to the Time Warner building? And I go, yeah, I'll go. And so I end up in True TV's office on a Friday afternoon with some TV guy named Tony, who doesn't know who I am, who's definitely not happy.
He's New York.
That somebody has told him he has to stay there.
Exactly.
And Arnold Rifkin is the guy who told him to stay there. So Arnold Rifkin did all the Bruce Willis movies, all the Die Hard, all that stuff, and through Cheyenne. So it's Arnold, who's a sweet man, and Jesse are on their office, and I think they're laughing at L.A. They've got this guy dancing, and I'm just walking in. I've already had a few cocktails. And it's this afternoon, and he comes in, and he throws his feet up on the desk, and he goes, so you in a major market? He's got his little suit on. I go, no. And he goes, you syndicated? And I go, no. He goes, are you on in the morning? Oh, yes, I am.
I've got that one.
I am. So I've already spotted this guy for what he is. And I'm like, okay, well. Yeah. And we're sitting there, and he goes, well, we were thinking Chris Christopherson or Sam Elliott for this. And I go, well, I'd do that if I were you. if you got, I go, that's 100% where I'd go.
Why am I here?
Yeah. And I'm just not going to buy into it. So it's funny. We get in there, we go into the voice. I go into the voice booth, and I cut it all. And in the end, certainly that was part of the process. But the reason I got it is because of my friendship with Jesse.
Sure.
And obviously you have to be able to do it, but that's how.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's people.
Yeah,
it's
it is, man.
Yeah.
I would love to tell you that they couldn't live without this beautiful, mellifluous thing.
Absolutely.
This terrible. The first day I got to the Rock, Valerie Knight asked me. They asked me to go on and do middays, and she goes, "Are you sick?" And I go, "No." And she goes, "Your voice always sounds like that." I go,
it does. Yeah. I don't have bronchitis.
Yeah, no, this is it.
I've got it. Okay, Curacao. The Dolphins and George Kiefer.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. We'll see if we can get through this.
Okay.
George was my friend for a lot of years. So I met George in Honduras scuba diving, and he was a marine biologist. And we became friends. Let me start over again here just for you guys. It's pretty emotional for me.
That's okay.
So George and I became friends in Honduras. He was a marine biologist at the Institute for Marine Science, and he took care of dolphins. He's one of the best in the world. And that relationship and that friendship lasted 20 plus years. I watched him get married, have his kid. His son is my godson. And he went through Honduras, and then he moved to a aquarium and a facility in Grand Bahamas, and then moved out to Curacao off the coast of Venezuela near Aruba. Right. And he set up a program, and he was famous for being the guy who set up the only open water diving with dolphins. So these dolphins, and everybody, and I understand, they go, I don't captive dolphins, it's so sad. These dolphins, every day, the gate opens, and he takes them to the open ocean, and we used to call it going for a walk. And they'd follow the boat, you'd give them fish, and they'd love and they'd explore, and we'd head back to the enclosure, the big lagoon. It was all natural ocean water, and they just gate right back in. That was the perfect life. They lived in a place where they didn't have to worry about predators. They were fed the best fish in the world, and they were never captive. They could have left, and there's nothing you could do. You couldn't catch them. Right. And he was an incredible guy, an incredible scientist, and we just had, it was a real brotherhood. Right. And he had this dang spot on his neck, and I'll tell you, if anybody, you ever see anything, you got to get it taken care of. And I'd write him about it and go, hey man, that's not good. Yeah, this went on for a couple of years. Good, yeah. And sure enough, it was skin cancer. Mm-hmm. And I'll try to get through this so it doesn't drag everybody down. But he goes in, and it's skin cancer, and it's kind of a second world medical situation out there. So they cut some stuff out, and they cut it up, and he gets this lymphatic issue where it keeps leaking. It keeps this lymphatic fluid keeps coming out. And I knew about it. I was visiting him, and he had a bandage, and we stayed in touch, and I stayed on it with him, talked to him every week, and then its cancer came back, and so they went in, they took a huge hunk out. Now after that, I went to go see him in 22, December of 22 into January of 23, and I could tell he was off, and then I went home, and they were radiating it. So they irradiated the whole area, and they just blew it out. Like, it was the amount of radiation they gave him. I've talked to doctors now. They're like,
they shouldn't have.
It was so much.
He should have come here.
Yes. But he wouldn't leave those animals. Yeah. And so he ends up getting this, it ulcerates, and he ends up with this giant abscess that goes from his neck to his collarbone. In fact, I won't show it to your audience, but it happened. Unfortunately, it happens to be right on my phone. This was what I walked into at that point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so this had opened up a great big wound, and he ended up with bacterial meningitis. So I get a call after he goes through all the radiation. He'd lost a bunch of weight he didn't tell me about because he couldn't eat. His tongue was all messed up. And so now it's 7 or 8 months past when I'd seen him, and I get a call that they find him unconscious in his front yard in this rental house he has on the island. And they think he's going to die. So I leave immediately, and I get there the next day, and I walk into this room, and I don't even recognize my friend. He looks like his great-grandfather. Sure. He is maybe 115, 120 pounds from 165. And wearing a paper gown, unconscious, and I don't know what to do. So, but all you can do is go, well, I'm just going to stay with him because his family hadn't got there yet, and nobody's there to take care of him.
Or take care of the dolphins, probably either.
Well, there was, there
were other people.
Yeah, they had a large staff there. Yeah, sure. So they were incredible to him. Right. So they would, they just stayed the course with what he would have done. But he's in this hospital, and for 2 days you're there. I'm just shoving like oatmeal in his mouth. I'm just like, well, you got to eat, you got to hydrate. So I'm watching everything go down. I can't get any answers from anybody. And you're just sitting in this room, like it looks like a modern hospital, but the clock doesn't even work. Uh-huh. The clock doesn't ever move. The TV doesn't turn on. I had to stop him at one point, riding the ambulance. I know that you can't rinse an IV with tap water. Right. And I see them, I go, what are you doing? They're like rinsing the IV, kind of snotty. And I go, not with that amount of pathogens in there. So eventually,
Especially in this country.
yeah. And he wakes up, and I see him, and he's paralyzed on one side. And he goes, "Feed me?" And I go, don't make it weird. I've been feeding you for 3 days. Like, just eat the oatmeal. Because nobody, if you didn't eat your food, they just came back and took it away. Nobody charted it. Right. Like, I realized very quickly, nobody's watching him. There's no chart. And they think he's going to die.
For him to die. Yeah.
And so I spent a couple weeks there, and I take my vacation. I come back, I go, I got to go back. And the station goes, okay, let's figure it out. So Ryan Westward, God bless him, great engineer and pilot and friend. He gets me to gear. I move into George's office. I plug in, and I can do the show from there. So all the guys get it together on this side, and I just go back and forth between the states. So spend a couple weeks there with him. I mean, he had to learn to walk again. You know, I'd shave him. I'd bathe him. You do everything for a friend. Like, and it's not without its own terrible, macabre humor. One day he kept complaining, and because he had bacterial meningitis over half the hemisphere, he couldn't find his words. And because it was affecting his brain so much on that side, so I was on this side didn't work. And he kept saying, he would try to find the word, and he kept saying, imminent, and his stomach hurt. And he was like, oh, imminent. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And all of a sudden, what had happened was, we find out later, I'll tell you, he has what's called an ileus. An ileus is when you're stopped pushing everything through. He just filled up. So all of a sudden his mouth opens, and it's like Nickelodeon. Just this bright green stream just goes kaboosh and hits me right in the face.
It's like being slimed.
Oh, yeah. And I'm trying to get a trash can, and I put it up, but he is literally, it was like a cartoon level stuff. And the nurse walks in. She's like mad, like we've done something wrong. He's like going, oh, and it just never stops. And so my hair is slicked back. I'm covered in screen. My shirt is coated. He's coated. I've got a half a trash can when this nurse walks in, and we're like, and then they take him down. They find out what the problem is. It's fine, but he's been building this up. But I got to drive home in Caribbean heat. I have to walk to this giant hospital, into a parking garage, get in a car, drive into Caribbean heat with this stuff drying in your hair, drive across an island, about 20 miles round trip, and I get in, and I walk in, and I just look at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, what is going on?
Oh, gosh.
And so we get through all that, get him back up on his feet. He starts going into hyperbaric chamber treatment. Everything starts going great. They're closing that wound. We get him all cleared up. We get him, I mean, there was a lot of bumps in the road I won't drag you through, but it was a lot. And I've got doctors here involved. And so I walk away from that about October, November of that year. And I get back to the States. And he's doing great. A year goes by. Apparently the cancer had come back, and he hadn't told me, and it came up on his face. So he moved to the Netherlands and to get treatment.
Yeah.
And they were doing great, and the cancer was going away. And I went to visit him over 24 into 25, and I wanted to take him to Scotland. I was like, dude, let's go do something fun. Let's go to Hogmanay in Edinburgh. And he'd never been, so we've been buddies forever, and he'd just been through so much. I'm like, dude, I'll pay for the whole thing. I'll just come. I'll fly you there. It'll be great. We do, but he doesn't feel good. What I didn't know, and he didn't know, is he had pneumonia.
Okay.
And we came back, and he didn't get better.
There's nothing to fight it with.
He has nothing.
His immune system.
So we end up in the hospital in Utrecht, Netherlands, and it just goes worse and worse and worse. And he can't oxygenate, and his son is there, and I'm there. And every day I'm just sitting there. And what started out as just a celebratory trip turned into being there when he passed away. They needed to intubate him, and bravest guy I've ever seen, man. Yeah. Because he knew that was a bad, terrible sign. We were already in the ICU. And I remember talking to him and going, George, so here's what they want to do. They want to intubate you. And if you say no, I'll fight everybody. I go, I won't let anybody come near you. I go, but you're going to die if you don't, and you may die if you do. I go, but, and he just said, okay, great, let's get it done. Because that's how he did things. Yeah. And he never shied away from it, and he never woke up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough story. I think maybe one of the highlights for him, and not positive about this story, but I think so, for George, he was a big baseball fan, right?
Oh.
And George Brett shows up.
Oh, yeah.
With his family?
One of the last things we did, well, yes, let's tell the George Brett story. So I'm there with an ex-girlfriend, and George comes running out at the aquarium, and he starts yelling, the king is here, the king is here. And I go, I'm pretty familiar with this island. You don't have a king. Like,
Right.
and it's a
You're
Dutch
about
island,
George
right?
Kiefer now is yelling the king
Yeah,
is
yeah,
here.
George Kiefer's doing it. And I go, what? He goes, George Brett is here. And I go, shut up. And so I look over and sure, that's George Brett. Now, I'd met George through the radio, and George walks over and I go, George, and he looks at me like, because you know how it is?
You're out of place.
Right. And I go, Johnny goes, oh, yeah, what are you doing here? And I go, hey, so let me give you this. And this is obviously years before George got sick, George Kiefer. And I go, this is George. I go, everything in his office is scientific. Everything is about marine biology except for the front page of the Kansas City Star the day you guys won the World Series. I go, you don't understand, George. He is. There's no one who's a bigger fan. And those guys got together. George Brett couldn't have been more incredible to him. And watching George, who was in charge of all these animals and a respected scientist, and he'd written 2 books, and he's the go-to guy when it comes to dolphins, turn into an 8-year-old boy is priceless. Like, and he loved one of the last things we did when we were back in his little apartment in Utrecht, Netherlands. He goes, listen, I know you don't like sports that much, John. He goes, but you got to see this documentary. And I go, okay. He goes, literally 15 minutes. If you don't like it, we'll do something else. So we sit down and we watch that documentary. That
George.
Yes.
Yeah, MLB did it.
Yes.
Major League Baseball did the George Brett documentary.
I couldn't be a bigger fan. Like, I always liked George because he was great to me. And he was always a bit of a curmudgeon and salty, and I love that in a guy. Like, he was a guy's guy. Like, he's a good dude. And
he's a guy's guy.
He'll take you as you come at him. And if you come at him nice, he's going to treat you with respect. If you think you're going to get over on George Brett,
you got another thing.
Yeah, it's not going to work out for you.
Right.
And so I'm watching this with George, and that was one of the last things we did was watch that documentary together. And he loved George Brett, like in Kansas City. You have no idea. Like, he was so proud. He flew. If we made it to the playoffs, there was a mast on a big minesweeper that was part of the Sea Aquarium. They'd run aground and use for offices. Giant ship, and he would climb that mast, that rickety old mast, and fly a Chiefs flag. And that was, and everybody on the island knew, like, they knew his love of the Chiefs. Because I'd go visit him over Decembers, and if we were still in the game, still in the playoffs, and everything was still going, I would have to endure these football games. And again, I love the Chiefs too. Like, but it's hard for me to sit still.
We're going to get into that part as well. Okay, the hate sports routine.
Yeah. Well, it just, and so I would sit and dutifully with my dear friend to the point that, remember when they changed the seats a few years ago? I found him row 1, seats 1 and 2, and I will tell you, it is no small feat to ship 2 Arrowhead chairs from Kansas City to Curacao through their customs.
I'll bet.
My girlfriend spent an untold amount of hours while that thing was stuck in customs, so my friend could have those.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like, I mean, there was nothing I wouldn't have done. In fact, I would have. There's no number. I would have emptied my bank account to take him to a Chiefs Super Bowl.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good friend, my friend. You're a good man. Hates sports.
Well, no, not hate. Hate's too much. When we win as Kansas City, I'm as in it as anybody.
Of course, I'm a good friend of Lee Flassett.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. But
I know Dave Stewart.
Yeah.
They both did sports in their shorts.
Sure. And Chris Goff, yeah.
Yeah, and Chris Goff, too. Absolutely. I know Chris as well.
And so I was never a team guy. Like, I was never a sports guy. I played baseball a little in high school. But other than that, like, we skateboarded, so it was individual.
Yeah.
And so that
You're one of those kids.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've never been able to sit and watch something passively. That's just, I'm always like, why wouldn't we go do this? Like, I can't watch something on the television. If I loved it that much, I'd go do it. I don't want to watch a TV show about riding motorcycles. I want to go do it.
Ride it.
I don't want to watch. Again, it's not very true because I'll watch a documentary on scuba diving. but that's the way I always felt. Right. And so I just could never. You know how it is when you're a guy, and especially if you're a broadcaster. If you can't speak completely and eloquently, they wait to chew you apart.
Oh, easy.
So the only choice was to call it what it was and go, I don't know, thing about sports. I ain't got nothing. I go, I got to get a guy. Like, and you had to stay with it.
Sure.
And that was our running joke. I go, let me tell you.
Because it was part of the program. It was part of the program.
So. Part of the radio. You go, because they'll eat you alive if you try to talk about sports in Kansas City.
You try to make yourself an expert, they're going to kill you.
Yeah, so you got to go, I'm out. Put a skirt on me, whatever you got to do. Like, I'm done. And I can tell you, my girlfriend sometimes will still tell me about the latest changes in rules in the NFL because she's an athlete.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Gosh, yeah. And you refer to her as Sassy Von Fancy Pants?
Correct. That is right.
Is that her,
That's right.
Is that her moniker?
Yeah.
Everybody has a nickname, so
well,
there you go.
I did that for her because there's a lot of weird people out there,
I know there are.
And she didn't sign on like I did.
That's right.
And she's the most supportive, beautiful, wonderful, kind girl ever. Like, listen, I don't know what's wrong with her that she likes me. I have no idea.
I had one of those too sitting in the other room.
Right. We outkicked our coverage, right?
No, definitely, yeah.
And but that's it. You go, wow, I don't know what you see in me, but you have terrible taste in men, but I'm down.
Here I am.
Yeah. Okay. And well, the thing is with her, like I met her on an airplane and coming out of Atlanta, and we talked about Rockfest. I think I sent her and her boyfriend some tickets, and it was just a conversation. We showed each other our dogs on the phone. A year later, I got an email, and I recognized the email, and it was that girl. And I go, oh, she just wants tickets again. Because I didn't stay in touch. But she keeps emailing me. And I'm telling you, when I tell you she's out of my league, she's out. And she's, considerably younger than me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm
that sounds familiar, but go ahead.
Yeah, right? So I think I'm kind of being catfished. I won't even, and then we start texting, and I'm like, I'm not falling for this. Like, there's no way that girl loves me or likes me. And so eventually I do meet up with her face to face, and that was 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And you can imagine, so now you do what I do in this city, and her dad had been a listener.
Oh, boy.
And then it's his only daughter. And
have you ever heard of Naked Twister?
Yeah.
You know what this guy's done?
It's all ha-ha, right? And then, so, and again, I look at pictures of us together, and I eventually took our driver's license, and I put them together, and it looked like when you were on the news, and they would say, last seen getting into a van with this man. like it was, you go, she's just angelic, beautiful,
right,
and then this.
It's like your dad originally with your mom.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it runs in the family, right?
Exactly.
And it's Sassy Von Fancy Pants is she's taking this ride all the way through and just nothing but support and love.
I think that's great. 3/6/25, last day on the air for you. What was that like? And were you surprised? In fact, Ben, our technical director, Ben Messner here at Marquee Create, said, they let you on the air to say goodbye.
Never thought they would.
Sometimes, Jason Whitlock, it doesn't end correctly.
The majority of the time, they'll never let you buy it because they've just taken away what you love.
Yeah.
And radio people are just, and I guess human beings, they get angry. They're gonna have their way with it.
Yeah, right.
And I sat down because it was a shock. We found out Thursday at 9:15 in the morning
that tomorrow's your last day.
Yeah, no, today was your last day.
Oh, today's your last day. Oh my gosh. Okay.
And I just said, look, guys, one of my biggest fears has always been to not say thank you, and just to be taken away from this that you've given your life to. And it really is. You have to give your life to it. And I gladly did. Like somebody asked me, how much show prep do you do? I go, what are you talking? I go, every moment of every day. It never stops.
Ad lib.
Yeah, you're constantly, you're uptaking information and you're cataloging it how it fits in the show the next day. And over 32 years, it never ends. And every one of my friends, every girlfriend, and my parents, they all learned the hard way. Hey, man, if it gets said or it's real, it's fair game. And they all had to learn the hard way. This is life, and we used it all. So that when you put that much love and that heart into it, and all the guys in the show, and you put everything into it, and it really is your life. And when it just shuts off. It's a terrible way to end it. Yeah. So we sat down, we had a talk, and they allowed us to do it. And they said, you can do another show. And they were very serious. There was two things. They were like, you have a disparagement clause in your contract. It'll shut your deal off.
Yeah, right.
And
so be careful what you say.
And then they went to Bob, and they go, Bob, if he does do it, my good friend who's the program director, if he goes sideways, it's your job. He had to vouch for me. Yeah. And he, without fail, went, he's fine. And I mean.
And he looks at you like, you're fine, right?
Yeah. And so we did the show that we always wanted to do. I didn't hold back on anything, but how mad can I be?
No, absolutely.
After 32 years.
No, they're still paying you.
Yeah,
so what the
no.
heck?
No, there's that, yeah. But even beyond all that, everything that was given to me, I'm a high school dropout from Olathe, Kansas.
Exactly.
And, the people I've met, the friendships. We talk about George. I would have never met George without this job. I wouldn't have the money to go scuba diving in Honduras with another friend. That wouldn't have happened. Henry Winkler, Bob Saget, all these bands that over the years that you loved growing up. That it's to me, it's
they all know you.
Well, to get a text from Rudy Sarzo, like if you're an Ozzy fan or a Whitesnake fan or a Quiet Riot fan, the bass player for all those, they have Rudy, out of the blue, Merry Christmas, love you, brother. Like, I know that's nothing to somebody else.
Yeah.
But to a kid that was your only friend, was that record, was that album. They gave me that. This radio job gave me that. The city gave me that. So there was no angry chest beating to be had the last day. It was just a heartfelt thank you to everybody I could remember.
Yeah. And for us in this business, okay, who were in the business, you're hired to. It's like being a football coach. You're hired to be fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The divorce is coming.
Yeah.
It's just
coming.
who asked for it.
When? How long? Yeah.
That's it. It's just you or they are going to ask for the divorce.
And how will we part? Before we get to Kansas City itself, the city itself, your favorite bike, favorite motorcycle?
So it's really simple. It's a red Fat Boy. It's the first Harley I ever owned. And the story is incredible. So I just got in the business. We were starting to do okay. John Schweitzer was the general manager, and I was making $18,000 a year. That's what they paid me to first do the show. And the motorcycle was $18,900. And I went up and I looked at this red Fat Boy. And I'm not a materialistic guy. I can give everything I own away. It just, none of it has any value. Everything goes to the dump. I learned a long time ago that everything we think has value doesn't. It goes to a trash dump someday.
Sure.
No matter how nice you think it is. And so I went to John Schweitzer and I go, listen, I don't know if I'm any good at this, but I want this more than anything. I'd like to buy this. And he goes, John, he goes, buy the motorcycle. And I bought a motorcycle that cost more than I made that year. And I kept it for a couple years. And it was incredible. It was everything I thought. It was a beautiful red Fat Boy. But like so many guys, you get the fever. I see it was a 97. And they built it, it's black and white, old school. And they'd really brought this vintage look back, this heritage Softail. And I got crazy for it. And I go, I'll just trade in the red one and I'll get this one. And I do it. But I immediately get home. And why I love this new bike, I start thinking about the first one that meant so much, that it was your first motorcycle trip, that it was signified adulthood. It signified a lot of everything, success, everything.
Sure.
And I was never shy about telling the guys how much I regretted selling that motorcycle. And so the guys at Worth Harley Davidson used to be like, we heard it was trashed in a field or it got wrecked and they just bust my balls over it. And I was and they were just kidding. They had no idea.
It's in a junkyard.
Yeah. They would nonstop. And this went on for years and years. And on my 20th anniversary, we had a big show down by the River Market. And Jackal was playing and headlining. Ugly Kid Joe, Shinedown was playing. So it was a 2-day music festival. And what I didn't know is Rick Worth and Chris Guerin and a bunch of people had tracked down the original motorcycle in Kentucky. And it was pretty rough. But they traded, and I'll get a little out of school. I don't think they'll care. But when they found it, and they had to go through, maybe a police officer, that's not supposed to happen, track the VIN down, and that's how they figured out where it was. Then they call the guy. Then the guy thinks they're full of S, right? That they're just some scam that's happening. We want to trade you something for this bike, and it's not. At that point, it's pretty old.
Yeah.
And so they end up trading him a used touring bike that's worth way more than the bike is. Then they get down there and they pick it up. It all has to happen. They don't get the deal done until about 18 hours apparently before the show happens. They bring it back to Kansas City. They start to turn it over, and it catches fire. So they put that out. Now, the bike has been painted. It doesn't look the same,
right?
But it's still a Fat Boy. And they hide it under this tarp the whole day. I have no idea. And I go up, and during the show, they give me the motorcycle back. And I was stunned because I could see through the terrible paint job that had been put on it. Yeah. I could see the old emblem. And I could see the bike, and it was super emotional for me because it meant so much. And the idea that those guys would go through everything they went through to find my original Harley Davidson and go, and that doesn't stop there. They took it away that day, and they restored it back to OEM. So they rebuilt the entire motorcycle with original parts. So if it had a scratch on it, if it wasn't exactly as it should be, basically it's a brand new motorcycle with the original engine gone through and painted back to the original red till it looked exactly like the day I bought it in 1996. Wow. And I went up to the shop at Worth Harley Davidson, and it was sitting there, and it took me a second to zero in on it. We were just talking. I'm like, it's the nicest thing anybody's ever done for me.
Yeah, right.
It is.
So that's one thing you wouldn't give away, even though I heard you're an online hoarder.
If I am very much so. No,
heard that.
I need a breathalyzer on my PayPal worse than anyone in the world. Sometimes I surprise myself. I don't even remember ordering something.
Yeah.
So I'll get like a gift. I'm like, I'm drinking. I'm like, oh, I should definitely get that. 3 weeks later, something shows up, and I'm like, oh, it's like my birthday. I have no idea what's in this box. I have a pinball machine, ACDC pinball machine that got ordered that way.
There you go. Yeah.
But that motorcycle, I still go ride it, and I get choked up, and I just think about how Rick Worth and Chris Guerin and all the guys that went into that, you know, and just because, like that's
Okay, we talked about this before. When you become as popular as you did, people are looking at you from all over the country. I'm sure you had offers from
sure
everywhere. Okay, to go. Why'd you stay? Why'd you stay in Kansas City?
It's really simple. I had the best agent in the world, Norm Schrutt. Norm Schrutt was the president of ABC Radio for years and years, had retired, and he was a heavyweight. And he was bigger than life, 6'4", looked like Benjamin Franklin. And when you said his name, like, it changed things. And they looked at you differently. And, I mean, he was a true old school heavyweight. And why he took it, I mean, again, we talk about the people that put their hands on our backs. Why he took interest in me, I'll never know, right at the beginning of my career. And so he directed me through all that, but he was very simple. He never let ego get in the way. So a market, a Dallas would come, or a Sacramento, or a Washington, D.C., all three of those offered jobs. But if the company was willing to match whatever they were offering, why would you not dance with the one who brung you? And he was very, very adamant about that. He goes, John, if you want to, if you seek, because the ego says you're in market 27, you could be in market 5.
Or 1.
Right. And, but I knew something was happening with Kansas City. And to be honest with you, I had never had any dreams of ever leaving here, ever. Everything I have was given to me by this city. Everything, everything. My mom and dad got sick, and they were sick for more than 15 years. And because I had this job, I could pay for them. I could pay for nurses. That's Kansas City. It's never been lost to me. I know how it all happened. They either like you or they don't. They either support you or they don't. And every show we did wasn't an A+ show. You know, they through the good, the bad, the mistakes, the everything. And everything I own, everything I have was given to me by them. Yeah. And that's never lost on me. Especially now that I have time to reflect on it.
Yeah, right. Especially now you do have some time, although you are really busy still.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
you know, doing your thing. So just thanks for the time today, number one. Number two, I'm glad you stayed in KC. We all are. And that's why we call it There's Just Something About Kansas City, because there's just something about you and the things you've done. Not just you're on air and all that, but everything you've done off the air and things that people do not see.
Dude, hope for the holidays.
Charitable. Yeah.
And hope, you know, because I want to talk about this because it was such a magnificent outpouring of Kansas City. And you talk about something about Kansas City. So the idea wasn't some radio guy granting lottery wishes. It was reading a letter of somebody who was in trouble and didn't have a direct charity to go to. They fell between the cracks. And it could have been a little girl who needs a wig because she has alopecia. Or a guy who if your transmission goes out in your truck and you can't get to work and you get fired, now you can't not only fix your truck, you can't pay your rent. And the dominoes start to fall. And all these people and this wide range of things, there's many great charities. We'd read a letter, get the person on the air, talk to them, and suddenly truck drivers, construction workers, regular human beings, people who work for their money hard, and some wealthy people too, but the majority, 95%, were working class people. And they would help a stranger. And to me, it wasn't just helping that person with the letter. That obviously was the arc and the goal. But for other people to hear that you can make a difference in somebody's life, you can change. Every cynical guy will tell you can't change the world, but you can change one person's world.
Right.
And we did it time after time. And when I say we, Kansas City did it. And it became to me so important for people to hear the good in others, to hear strangers helping other people in this divisive world we live in. That to me was the magic. And that is, there's something about Kansas City. I don't believe it could happen in any other city. So it was a magical, magical thing for me to see.
No better way to end this, my friend. Hey, thanks. You're the best. Johnny Dare, Johnny Caprioli, better known as Johnny Dare, the Johnny Dare. And folks, it's another reason why we always say it's just something about Kansas City.
There's Just Something About Kansas City is a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization with the mission of documenting the stories that have built our city to inspire and educate generations to come. Our work is being made possible by the generous support of local partners like you. You can help us share these stories by becoming a sponsor today. Visit somethingaboutKC.org to learn more.